Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Brissett and I am a sophomore biomedical engineer at Union College. So today I've made an experiment about density. So to start off explaining what density is how much space an object or substance takes up relative to the amount of matter in the object. So the easiest way to put this is if you think of a tennis ball or compared to a baseball, they're roughly the same size, but a baseball is much heavier. And with saying this, the baseball is much more dense than the tennis ball. So the baseball will sink in water and the tennis ball might float. So for today, I have two experiments. The first experiment is going to be just an introductory experiment. And then the second one's the more fun one. Okay, so if you look at your sheet, the first experiment is the egg experiment. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna explore how salt water is more dense than tap water. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna fill up 2 cups of water, pretty much to the top, enough to fill it, keep an egg in there. And then we're gonna take one, we're gonna label it salt. If this stays on, kinda. Okay, so for this cup, we're gonna fill 3 tablespoons of salt. Let me get there. There's 1. 2. Here, I'll take this off so we'll be able to see. And then 3. And we're gonna stir this baby up. When she's all stirred up. Okay. So here I have 2 eggs. Same size, same weight, same density. And here we have salt water and tap water. So let's see what happens when I put the first egg in tap water. The egg sinks. Why does the egg sink? Because the egg is much more dense than the water. So when I put this egg in the salt water, can you see that? The egg floats. You can see it's little bobbing. And why is this? Because salt water, when you add salt to water, the water's density becomes much greater. And the density of the water, therefore, becomes more dense than the density of the egg, where the egg in this case is much more dense than the water. So that's the first fun experiment. So that was just an introduction. Okay, so for the second experiment, which will be much more fun, I promise, we are going to, let me fish this egg out. Use this, you don't have to use the same water, but I'm gonna use the same water as this. So we're gonna make a lava lamp. So how lava lamps work is lava lamps are all about density. So the actual lava lamp itself is composed of 2 fluids that are very close in density, but one is more dense than the other. And so, you know how when your mom says don't touch the lava lamp because it's too hot? That's because there is a bulb underneath the lava lamp that heats up the more dense fluid at the bottom. And when that fluid gets heat to it, it becomes more dense than the fluid on top. And that's what makes the blobs come up and then come back down because they cool off at the top. And that's how lava lamps the bubbles just go up and then down because of the density of the bubbles increase with the heat. Okay, so for this experiment, you're gonna need a bottle, a cup, anything clear that you can see the experiment in. Water that we have here. Vegetable oil, very important. I have it right here. And then tablets, fizzy tablets. I have Alka-Seltzer. You're just gonna need half of that. And then food coloring of any color. You can do multiple experiments and do a bunch of colors. For this one I've read, hopefully you'll be seeing more. So let's get everything going. Let me turn the page. Okay, so right now I have it about probably 7/8. We're gonna have to fill this up 3/4 of the way. Or yeah, no, 1/4 with water. So I'm gonna have to dump some of this out. I need a little more than, let me fill this up more. I'm outside because it's such a nice day. I encourage you all to go outside, have some fun. Okay, let me turn this around, see it better. Okay, so this is a little more than 1/4, but that's okay. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take the vegetable oil and then we're gonna put this in the cup until it is pretty much full. I'm gonna empty this out a little more. There we go. Should be good. Get this closer. And if you guys have ever heard the saying to not mix, well, not mix, but like things don't mix, like oil and water, this is the perfect example of that. And so this is our first lesson of density in the lava lamp experiment. So can you guys guess which liquid is more dense? That's right, the water. Since the water is more dense than the olive oil, it's going to be sinking to the bottom. So I have to wait a couple minutes for these to mix completely. Okay. Let's see. I'd say that's pretty well mixed. Okay, so I'm gonna open up the fizzy tablet. Okay. So now that we have our two liquids in here, we have our fizzy tablet opened up. It's going to be a circle. We're only going to use half of it. You can just break it in half. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our third component, which is the food coloring. There's a tab I have to take off. Now, careful with this because it does stain your hands. It's not going to be fun. You can do this outside, especially for your parents. See? Okay, we're going to put this cap back on. So can we guess what's going to happen when this food coloring goes in? Where is it going to go? Let's find out. All right. Let me see it fall. Now what's cool about adding food coloring is that it's gonna sink, but it's gonna sit on top of the oil, as we can see here, and then it's gonna fall through. That's because the food coloring and the water have a very similar density, but the food coloring is just a little more dense than the water. That's why it ends up actually falling through. So we're gonna wait, let the bubbles all fall to the bottom. It's a bird. So while we do this, while this happens, we're gonna break our fizzy tablet in half. Mine broke in quarters, but that's okay. Take out our half. We'll just wait a little more for this to go down. All right, I think we're pretty much there. You guys see that all right? I can make this closer. Just kidding, it doesn't want to fit. Okay, so now here's the fun. Let's add our fizzy tablets. You guys ready? Look at that. So what's happening here is when these fizzy tablets, when they bubble, they produce oxygen. Oh, just kidding. When they bubble, they produce carbon dioxide. And so that makes the water in the bubbles turn into a blob. And it's just the air gets inside these bubbles, and the air makes the water so much less dense than the oil. And then they come to the top because they become so much lighter. And then once they hit the top, they pop, and then the water becomes much heavier again and then falls right back to the bottom. That's why you see them going like up and then falling back down. So this is basically the oxygen's making it lighter than the oil. So it's going to the air up top. And then the water is becoming heavy again and falling right back to the bottom. Isn't this cool? Let's add the rest. See if we can get this going again. Yeah. There we go. Look at that. And this just keeps doing this until the tablet gets fully dissolved and no longer has any chemical reaction creating the air. And like I said, you can use any color. You can add the whole tablet in if you want to go even crazier. If you're using a cup with a lid, you can tighten the lid, and then this will stop the oxygen from becoming heavier and going to the bottom. So if you look at the sheet, I included some really fun facts about density. Well, not really fun, but a fun fact. If you guys in your lifetime ever go to the Dead Sea, it is the saltiest water on earth. You can lay back in it and you will float. You don't even have to do anything. You don't have to have any flotation devices. You just sit in it, you'll rise right to the top. And this is because how salty, as we saw with our egg demonstration, how salty this water is, and it makes it much more dense than the water in the human body. So the human body will float, and it's the most dense water found on Earth. Well, yeah, so that's the experiment. It's fun. It's kind of slowing down. Show your friends this. Do this at home. It's fun in quarantine. Nothing to do. Might as well learn. All right. Well, thank you guys for letting me teach you about density. Hope you guys stay safe. and make the most of your time this quarantine. Be nice to your family. I know it's hard. Focus on yourself, on school, and get outside. It's fun, it's warm. Thank God this didn't happen in the winter. All right, bye guys.